Good evening, everyone. Hope all of you all are doing well and God bless. I'm Sheetal Chabria, nutritionist at RxDX. Today I will be answering questions on immunity and diet. And for weeks now, I've been receiving messages on how to build immunity. Now, immunity does not build in a single day, it's an everyday discipline and it is very holistic. It takes into account adequate sleep, exercising enough, controlling stress levels, hydration, the amount of water we consume per day, and another very crucial factor is maintaining our gut microbiome, that is, maintaining the healthy to the unhealthy bacteria. And if there is an imbalance of any of these factors mentioned, the immunity will definitely get depressed. So, immunity is very holistic and has to have a discipline every single day in building immunity. So, now I will be answering questions on immunity and diet. So, the first question: do we need to avoid food from outside? Can coronavirus be transmitted through food? At these times, it's very important to follow the food safety protocol. As we all know, the virus can survive on a cardboard box for 24 hours and on a stainless steel or a plastic box for around 72 hours. So we have to take precautions. So please opt for no contact delivery. Keep a bag outside your house so that the delivery person can drop the food packets into the bag. Once you get it inside the house, wipe it with a sanitizer, shift it to another container and reheat it. As we know, virus is sensitive to heat, so it will be destroyed while heating. And also be careful to only order hot or cooked food and avoid raw food. And order from trusted restaurants and takeaway from which you've not had any issues, gastric issues earlier. So here the three important factors of opting for no contact delivery, ordering hot food, cooked food, and also from trusted takeaways is an important factor. And following this, definitely ordering food from out is safe. Now, can one get corona by consuming eggs, chicken, or fish? As of now, there is no advisory on non-veg food, so it is safe to have egg, cooked meat, and even fish. Cooking non-veg to a degree of 160 degree Fahrenheit is safe, and our Indian cooking, which has all the herbs and spices, and when we cook our non-veg in this, it is very safe. But eating raw food should be avoided. Raw non-veg specifically should be avoided. Does coronavirus spread if an infected person handles or prepares food? Now, viruses need to enter the living cell to be able to replicate, unlike bacteria which will replicate in food. And viruses are sensitive to heat and will be destroyed by cooking. The disease is transmitted person to person. As told earlier, please opt for no contact delivery, sanitize the boxes and reheat the food again. Following the steps, it is safe to have food from poison even if the person who's prepared it or handled is infected. Now, can we consume certain foods that help build our immunity and prevent being infected by coronavirus? Now, there is no food which is a superfood, and there is no nutrient which is a magic nutrient. So let us look at diet and immunity. Now, when we consume food daily, we take a combination of macronutrients, micronutrients, water and fiber. These are the raw materials which we give our body to build our immunity. So now let us take a look at each nutrient. Now, the macronutrients in our diet are carbohydrate, protein and fat. Now, in most of our Indian diets, the carbohydrates are usually adequate. We take carbohydrate in the form of rice, dosa, chapati, millets and ragi. and Indian diets are usually not deficient in carbohydrates. Now the next nutrient we come to is protein. Now protein is a very important building block in immunity, and most of our enzymatic functions, hormones, and even the antibodies which build immunity have protein as their structural component. So most of our Indian diets are inadequate in protein. So increasing the protein in the diet is crucial for increasing the immunity in the diet. Now the recommended dietary allowances for protein is around 0.8 to 1 gram per kg body weight. So if a person is 70 kgs, taking around 65 to 75 grams of protein is very important every single day. Now coming to fats. Now fat is very important for the absorption of many fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E and K. Nowadays you see a lot of people who want to go on a low fat diet to lose weight. But when you drop fat, you compromise the absorption of many immuno boosting vitamins. So maintaining a good fat source in the form of MUFA and omega-3 which help fight in inflammation is crucial. Now the sources of omega-3 is flax seeds, nuts like walnuts, almonds, and many other seeds like your sunflower seeds. Basically seeds do have a good source of omega-3, flax seeds being the highest, and omega-3 definitely helps in reducing inflammation in the body. Now most people ask me, how much fat do I consume in a day? So around 4 to 5 teaspoons of fat is important per day per person, and it should be a combination of PUFA, MUFA and omega-3. Now coming to the micronutrient quotient in our diet. The important vitamins and minerals which are immunoboosters are vitamin A, D, E, vitamin C and B complex vitamins, and minerals like zinc, selenium, iron, magnesium are the important minerals. And the important immunovitamins and minerals which help fight against respiratory infection are vitamin C, zinc and vitamin D. I will be sharing a link on RxDX pages on the sources of the macro and micronutrients which are quantified, and the information is from an authentic and evidence based from the Indian Dietetic Association. So please have a look at this link and not to follow internet for the immuno boosters, because what I'll be putting up is evidence based information. What precautions should be taken with food? So I'll be giving 4 simple steps regarding food safety in cooking at home. First step is to clean. Now when we get our vegetables and fruits from outside, it is very important it is washed and can be cleaned with salt, vinegar or something even known as hing, which is always there in our kitchen. This will definitely, and you can, after cleaning them, you can definitely store them or you can cook. And the area which we cook has to be cleaned and the utensils have to be washed thoroughly. The next step is separating the vegetarian with non-vegetarian food reduces the cross contamination. So another important factor is when you separate food, you should pack it, and if you're storing it, pack it portion size. So when you take out that one particular portion for the day, you cook it and consume it that very day. It is very important not to freeze, thaw and defreeze. This decreases the quality of food and causes spoilage in food, especially non-veg. Cook and chill. Now when we cook food and we want to keep it for the next day, it is very important that we keep it out for 30 minutes and immediately chill it. Now chilling food between the temperature of 1 degree to 4 degrees centigrade prevents spoilage of food for a short period of time. But if we want to store food for a longer period of time, minus 18 degrees centigrade, food can be preserved for a year. Now the next question. What is the general advice you give someone who may have contracted COVID and is self-isolating? Now here it is very important the patient gets nutrient dense food. So giving adequate nutrition must come from both macro and the micronutrients, and the calorie intake should improve, especially taking protein into consideration. Here the protein can also be increased to around 1.2 grams per kg body weight. Now people with having any kind of infection and even COVID, they lose appetite. So giving food in the form of mashed form or even liquid form can be given, like soups, vegetable and fruit purees, dal and rice ganjis. All these foods should be given quite frequently, because the person may not be able to eat more quantity at a particular time, and since we have to improve his caloric load, so giving food frequently is very important. Checking on the vitamin D status is crucial, because vitamin D, as I said, is very important in fighting respiratory illnesses. And the important sources of vitamin D in the food are not many, but supposing you have fortified milk, and even egg is a good source of vitamin D. But basically vitamin D is a sunshine vitamin, and if the patient is not able to expose himself to the sun, so taking a supplementation with the advice from the doctor is very important. Now, immuno-boosting agents in our diet like vitamin A, C, E, zinc, selenium, copper, iron needs to be adequate in the diet daily. And anti-inflammatory measures like introducing omega-3 in the diet in the form of seeds and nuts can be given. Now there are certain antiviral foods which are there in our kitchen, and it will help in improving the immunity, like taking milk along with turmeric and pepper, green tea, tulsi and garlic, and giving a good source of probiotic like curds and buttermilk every day is important. Following these basic protocols, the person suffering from COVID will definitely improve in their nutritional status. Can COVID spread through drinking water? That virus that causes COVID has not been detected in drinking water, and usually the water we drink is most of the time treated. But here we have to be careful on packaged water. As we clean the boxes as we clean our boxes and sanitize the boxes, it is very important to sanitize the bottles or clean the bottles before we drink the water. What should I do if my child has food allergies? Now, allergies are mostly of two types. Type 1, or the IgE mediated allergy. Here there is an immediate onset of the symptoms after the consumption of the allergic food. And the symptoms are immediate, like you will get rashes, sneezing, difficulty in breathing, and sometimes the patient may even go into shock. Now these IgE mediated allergies, the food should be avoided totally from the diet and cannot be reintroduced. Now there's another kind of allergy known as IgG mediated allergy or food intolerance. Here the antibodies to the allergic food is formed very gradually, and there is a delayed response to the allergic food which may be a few hours or even a few days, and the response is not so severe as an IgE mediated allergy. Now the symptoms for the IgG allergies are IBS, fatigue, depression, headaches, eczema, asthma, and even weight problems, weight gain. Here the offending foods are removed from the diet for a short period of time and can be reintroduced slowly after 3 months. Usually after 3 months, and can be sometimes for a longer time. In both cases, it's advisable to give a very good source of pre and probiotics in the form of food or supplementation. The next question. What does gut health have to do with coronavirus? Now, your gut health has to do everything with immunity, and it is the most important factor in immunity of the body. Now, gut health means the balance between the good and the bad bacteria. Now, when the balance of the pathogenic bacteria increases, we have something known as a leaky gut. Now, what is a leaky gut? Leaky gut is something when the toxins and undigested food particles from the intestines enter into the blood, causing inflammation in the body. And nowadays, even many autoimmune diseases have been related to gut health. So in these cases, it's very important to avoid foods from outside, especially processed foods, and people having and foods having preservatives, and that is there in processed foods. Having antibiotics too often also may lead to leaky gut. Not exercising, taking too much of stress. So gut also has to be handled very holistically, and maintaining the healthy and the unhealthy bacteria. Maintaining the healthy bacteria is more important. Why is malnutrition important to consider for COVID? Now, what is malnutrition? Malnutrition is not getting enough nutrient in the diet, that is not having nutrient dense foods. So when you don't have a good diet, naturally your immunity is depressed. Now, when we look at malnutrition, we always look at people who are underweight, undernourished, but that is definitely malnutrition. But malnutrition can also happen in the obese population. Now, obese people tend to have a lot of empty calories which have no nutritional value, and this can lead to many lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and diseases of the heart. And the absorption of immunovitamins and minerals is not at an optimum level in obese patients, because as we know, fat is metabolically inactive. Another form of malnutrition is even anemia, having low iron. When you have anemia, this causes the reduction of oxygen carrying capacity in the body and definitely results in depressed immunity. Another form of malnutrition we also see in the older population of people over the 60 years of age. In this population, they may be suffering from a lot of lifestyle and metabolic diseases. They may not be able to eat food, chew food, and they may be lonely. So, here what happens, there is something known as sarcopenia, that is decrease in the muscle mass. So malnutrition in older population is very prevalent and has to be taken and has to be addressed with a very well balanced diet with the macronutrient and micronutrient balance. How do I know if the person I care for is at the risk of malnutrition? Now, there will be indications of malnutrition: feeling lethargic, in spite of having or not having physical activity much, falling sick very often, even to a slight change in weather condition, imbalance of the gut microbe, feeling bloated, constipated and headaches, retardation of mental alertness, you are not very alert, and brittle nails and hair falls. These are just a few signs of malnutrition, but important signs. Now, what is the advice for someone who is at risk of malnutrition, and what is the support needed? Now, this is a complex question. We should first see what kind of malnutrition we are dealing with. Now, if it's an underweight, a person with a very low BMI, below 18 and below 17, we have to increase the overall caloric requirement, taking the carbohydrate, protein and fat in a balanced manner. And here it may be required to increase the protein, as I've said, to 1.2 grams per kg body weight. Now, obese malnutrition, that is a BMI over 28, it is very crucial that we drop the body fat and improve the muscle mass through exercise, and giving them a balanced calorie negative diet to bring down their weight and their fat mass. Now, improving anemia is improving the nutritional status by giving iron rich and vitamin C foods and also increasing the proteins. When you increase protein, you increase the foundation of the body to absorb all the micronutrients. Now, in case of the older population, addressing their nutritional needs with a balanced diet, with a combination of macro, micro, and even hydration is very important in the older population. And older population definitely will need a very good quality protein, and sometimes supplementation may be necessary. What should I do if I am living with someone who's diabetic? Now, diabetic is a lifestyle disease which can be managed through lifestyle changes and diet. The first important thing with diet is when I meet a diabetic patient, I first tell them in your plate, have one source of carbohydrate, one source of protein, and two sources of fiber. That is, it can be cooked and it can be uncooked like vegetables, salad and cooked vegetables with a source of curds like dairy or buttermilk. So when we take this balanced meal like an Indian thali, the release of sugar is very slow into the bloodstream, and this does not cause a spike in insulin, and it maintains the glycemic control. Also, do not miss your medication. Take the medicines or the medication at the specific time and exercise. Please, diabetic patients should walk at least 40 to 45 minutes per day and have some form of exercise, because exercise definitely improves the blood sugar levels in the body. And always remember to eat food at regular intervals, including 2 to 3 fruit servings per day, and also including good fats like nuts and oil seeds is also very important for diabetic patients. So overall, maintaining the blood sugar levels with a good diet, exercise, and medication will definitely improve the blood sugar control or the blood sugar control in diabetic patients, and also checking the FBS and HbA1c regularly. What should I do if I'm living with someone having celiac disease? Now, people suffering to celiac disease are sensitive to a gluten protein, and this gluten is found in wheat, barley, and rye. So products like wheat germ, products with wheat, anything malted and anything made with rye definitely has to be avoided, and this has to be avoided for life. Now here we should always also be careful of hidden gluten in many processed foods, and medicines also will have hidden gluten. So we should read the labels of the foods we buy to see the hidden gluten content. Should I continue to breastfeed my baby? Now, if you've been diagnosed with COVID or suspected of having COVID, you can breastfeed the baby following the hygiene protocols, like by putting gloves and putting a mask on your face. But this also seems a little dicey, so expressing the milk and giving it in a sterilized bottle is safer. And please don't stop giving breast milk, because it has all the immune boosting components for the baby to fight any infection. And please exclusively breastfeed for 6 months. What if I am pregnant? Mother to child transmission of virus during pregnancy is unlikely, but the birth of the newborn is susceptible to person transfer. And during pregnancy, the virus has not been detected in the amniotic fluid, breast milk, or maternal samples. So the virus does not transmit from the mother to the unborn child. So far, there has been no evidence of transmitting of virus to the unborn child. I am concerned about supplies of infant formulas other than products and other products free from milk. What should I do? Now, infant formulas are usually safe to have. You just have to be careful of the container. So when you get the box home, clean it with a sanitizer. And when you're mixing the formula to feed it for the baby, mix it with a hot or a warm liquid, as all viruses and bacteria are sensitive to heat. And also boil milk at home even if it is pasteurized. Now there are a few more questions which I have received online. Can fruits and vegetables be washed with Dettol to disinfect them? Please don't wash fruit and vegetables with Dettol. It is not required. It's an antiseptic. Just washing with salt, vinegar and hing is more than enough. Adding probiotics to the diet will help me fight against COVID. Now, probiotics in the diet definitely helps if you have a certain issue like gastric issues, having a gut microbiome imbalance. But taking probiotics naturally in your diet in the form of curds, buttermilk, and there are even pickles. There's a simple recipe of making a probiotic at home. Cut cabbage, carrot, and even beetroot and take it in a clean ceramic bowl. Cover it with water. Put a little of Celtic sea salt or Himalayan sea salt and keep it aside for a week outside in the sun. This is a very good of homemade probiotic which you can have. So having probiotics in the diet naturally is very important every single day. Now, I hear hot drinks can kill the virus in your throat. No, this is not true. Hot drinks cannot kill the virus in your throat because from your throat it tends to even multiply into your respiratory tract. So please, drinking hot drink is not a good. It's not good to kill any virus in your throat. So these are the questions which I have received. Hope this session was very useful to you. Thank you. You can all we have teleconsultation at RxDx. Please reach out to us. We are available. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay home, and God bless.